Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in to today's third video, doing GavsWeatherVids Sunday Round-Up for today's third video. So as always on a Sunday, got your eclectic mix of this and that. Going to be looking at things like sea surface temperature, anomalies, solar activity, QBO, AO, NAO and the weather for the next 10 to 40 days. Very interesting GFS run has appeared this morning. More about that later on in the video. So I should get on with the Sunday Round-Up for you very shortly. Just say that the first video release today was our 7 AM forecast. We also released our final, 10th and final summer 2021 update, so that's getting a lot of May data together. Runs through 15 minutes. It's a true epic for the final update. I'm going to be live streaming tonight from 6 o'clock, so have a Sunday live stream, and we'll do a little bit of long range in the Sunday live stream, so I shall see you live then. But for this video, it's Sunday Roundup, so let's get on with that. So I hope you're having a lovely Sunday, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in on your sunny afternoon. Right, turn webcam off. I'm going to start off with solar activity. So this is how the solar disk is looking on our side today from solarham.net. We've got one sunspot region just here. Despite only having one sunspot region, though, solar activity is actually at moderate levels today. Been a long time since we've been able to say that. We've got an M-class flare being produced by this particular sunspot, and that's lifted solar activity to moderate levels. And well, I think we're expecting solar activity to remain at moderate levels for the next 3 days as well. This is the GavsWeatherVids solar activity tracker sent through by our good friend James Atwill, keeper of the solar tracker, so you can see that we're still at a low level of solar activity, although I'd expect this to pick up when we look at it again next week, taking into account the current situation. But the orange line shows each individual day's worth of sunspot activity. So you can see that back in April, we had a bit of a tick up in activity there, and then been quite a low level of activity since that. We dropped down to no sunspots for a couple of days just there. And where we are right now is around here, so we are at a low level of sunspots in terms of numbers, but remember the sunspots are beginning to get a little bit more active now, starting to produce, as I say, today an M-class flare, which is a long time since you had one of those. The thick green and thick red lines actually trended down a little bit. I would expect those trend lines to begin to lift up a bit over the next few days. When we look at this next week, I expect they're starting to show a bit of a tick up. So, yeah, you know, activity is beginning to increase. We're early on, or we're sort of quite early on still in solar cycle 25, but this is kind of period when you expect solar activity to start picking up. So it's been a slow start to solar cycle 25, but I think we are beginning to see the solar cycle getting going now. Who am I today? Let's have a look at this. It's from Rich. So it looks like it's RoboGav. It looks like it's RoboGav today. Thank you, Rich, for turning me into RoboGav. Wow. So this is showing spotted days, and the current spot is stretch. So the current spot is stretched actually 0 days because we had sunspots yesterday. For 2021 so far, we have had 46 days without sunspots, and it's 32% of the year, compares to 2020, which had 208 days without sunspots. That's 57% of the year. Of course, our solar minimum year of 2019, 261 days without sunspots, which was 77% of the year. All performing very much like the last solar minimum and solar cycle from 23 to 24 in the years of 2008, 2009. And 2010. So it's all looking very, very similar with this solar cycle compared to the last solar cycle. So it's been a slow start to solar cycle 25. We are now up to moderate levels, both for the first time in this solar cycle, I think. So we'll wait and see what happens next. Thanks to James and Richard sending through your data. Right, it's how the ocean's looking. We did last week's Sunday Roundup. Got our 3 areas of interest, of course. So we've got the Equatorial Pacific Ocean just here, the ENSO region. Got the Northern Pacific up here, and we've got the North Atlantic over there. That's how the oceans were looking when we did last week's Sunday Roundup. Let's have a look at the very latest. This is it then for the 21st of May, dealing with the ENSO region. First of all, so we're continuing to unravel the La Nina. We're back to ENSO neutral. Now, we do still see the last sort of vestiges, last legacy of the La Nina, still a little bit cold on average particularly to the south of the equator through here. With sea surface temperature anomalies and a little bit cool over in the eastern part of the equatorial Pacific Ocean as well. But overall, the ENSO region is at ENSO neutral, with left landing behind, and we're waiting to see where we go next. In the northern Pacific, again, let's compare to last week. That situation last week, this is the situation this week in the North Pacific. Things are continuing to get ever warmer here in the northeastern part of the Pacific Ocean. We're starting to lose these cold average sea surface temperature anomalies up here around Alaska and Canada, although off the coast of America it is still pretty cold there. Again, that is part of the legacy of the La Nina, I think. Interestingly, in the Indian Ocean, I'm just off on a bit of a tangent with this, in the Indian Ocean, it's going pretty cold through here in the eastern part of the Indian Ocean. It's quite warm over here in the western part of the Indian Ocean. We'll probably have a look at the IOD, Indian Ocean Dipole, next week. And then finally, in the North Atlantic, again, let's compare to last week, that situation in North Atlantic. Last week, this is the situation this week. So most parts of the Atlantic still looking significantly above average, with the sea surface temperature. It's very warm up here south of Greenland. It's turning a little bit cooler towards the east coast of America. And then around here, it's pretty warm. And into the tropics, generally quite warm as well through much of the tropical Atlantic. I shall say no more than that. We're releasing the NAO forecast 2 weeks today for winter 2021-22. Know what I'm talking about. We're releasing the NAO forecast. Yeah, that's right, 2 weeks today. Releasing the NAO forecast 2 weeks today. Well, I made a mistake there. Releasing the NAO forecast for winter 2021-22, 2 weeks today, 6th of June. So I can't comment on what the Atlantic is doing, until I release the NAO forecast. But all I'll say is it does look quite interesting. I'll leave it at that. This is how the SOI is looking, Southern Oscillation Index. This is from Queensland Government, part of Bureau of Meteorology, I think. So the SOI, again, just an index that reflecting the atmosphere. Say it does not drive anything. So in terms, just tells what the atmosphere is doing, measuring air pressures between Darwin and Tahiti. So if we have a look at this then, so these are our date columns just here. These are the columns for barometric pressure for Tahiti and Darwin, and this is the overall SOI number. So you can see that we've gone more towards neutral over the past few days, actually. So about a week ago, we was having very positive numbers, very reflective of La Nina. So when you've got positive numbers, that's the atmospheric state in a La Nina type setting. When you've got negative numbers, that's the atmospheric state in El Nino type numbers. So you have positivity of the SOI, 14th, 15th, 16th of May, strongly positive numbers there. Over past few days, 18th of May went down to minus 1.44, so that's a little bit reflective of El Nino. Then back to plus 6.22, plus 8.14 there. Then 0.86, that's around ENSO neutral. 1.63 again, ENSO neutral, really with the atmospheric state. And the latest number is 6.68, again, slightly into La Nina type territory. So it looks like we're sort of still reflecting La Nina really with the atmospheric setup. But it's all very classic, really, this of being at ENSO neutral. It wasn't all that long ago, but we had some negativity back here on 25th of April. It was quite negative. So I think the atmosphere has probably shifted a little bit towards La Nina over the past 2 or 3 weeks. And that might explain why this eastern part of the equatorial Pacific Ocean just starting to get a little bit colder again. Might be a sign that La Nina is on the way back. But I think we need to wait a bit longer to confirm that. This is what CFSV2 is forecasting in terms of the ENSO region for the rest of the year. So this gets us to January. Beyond January 2022. All important numbers, half a degree above average there for El Nino, half a degree below average there for La Nina. At the moment, we're at ENSO neutral, right bang on ENSO neutral, actually. The black dash line, which is the ensemble mean, that keeps us around ENSO neutral through the rest of the year. The coloured lines here, so the red lines are like the oldest ensemble plume members. The blue lines are like the latest ensemble plume members. You can see that the blue lines are tending to get a little bit colder at the moment. So the CFS might be starting to move back towards a weak La Nina setting up through this summer. We may see ourselves going back into weak La Nina. But again, I think we're going to wait a while. We've got to wait a little bit longer to be able to decipher where we are going. What we can say, I think, is very little chance that we're going to go into El Nino. So I think it's either going to be so neutral for the rest of the year, or we'll go back to a weak La Nina. Famous last words. I'm sure, we could go into an El Nino unexpectedly, but there's no sign of it on that at all, really. So I think it's saying so neutral or weak La Nina, probably, that we're looking at for the rest of the year. Arctic sea ice and Eurasian snow cover next. So we're continuing to lose snow cover very, very quickly across Siberia now. So there's just a little bit left in the far north and northeastern part of Siberia and down here as well. But generally, most of Russia and Siberia is now snow-free. And these last areas of snow, these last pockets of snow, will be going in the next few weeks. There's still a little bit of snow cover across northern Scandinavia as well into the Arctic Scandinavia, but generally snow cover is unravelling, and we will be snow-free pretty soon now, I think, except over mountainous areas. And of course, from September it will start to come back. This is how Arctic sea ice extent is looking. So the grey lines are the trend lines, and the blue line is this year in terms of Arctic sea ice extent. So you see we are under average at the moment with Arctic sea ice extent. Of course, we're into melt season now, and that'll bottom out when we get through into September. So we're under average. We're under our long-term trends in terms of Arctic sea ice extent. Let's start putting some recent years in. So this is 2020, actually a little bit above 2020 for this point of the year with Arctic sea ice extent. That's 2019, which we're above as well. That's 2018, so we're above 2018 too for Arctic sea ice extent. We're on a par with 2017. We're well above 2016. Let's start removing some of these lines because they can be a little bit hard to make out. So we're well above 2016 for this point in the year for Arctic sea ice extent. We're a little bit above 2015. We're on a par with 2014. We're a little bit below 2013. So that's that green line, so a little bit below that one. And we're a little bit below 2012 as well. So we're not doing too badly in terms of, recent years. We're on a par or a little bit above many of the recent years. We're below 1 or 2. But overall, not doing too bad. It's a little bit of a surprise because we've had a lot of blocking over the Arctic over the past few weeks, of course, particularly around Greenland. So you would have thought all about blocking. We would be doing quite badly for Arctic sea ice extent. But although, we've got to keep it in proportion, it's still below average for our long-term trends. We're below 2011 to 2020 average, and 2001 to 2010 average, and 81 to average. Of course, we're below 79 to 1990 average. In fact, I'll put 1979 in. That is 1979. So you see how far below 1979 we are for Arctic sea ice extent at the moment. But nevertheless, not doing too badly compared to more recent years. Certainly on a par with several of them, above several of them indeed, and just a little bit below 1 or 2. So we're not doing too badly there for Arctic sea ice extent compared to more recent years. QBO, Quasi-Iberian Oscillation, next. This is from NASA, of course. We looked at this in the week, but I thought we'd have a look at it again today. This is like the levels of the atmosphere just here. So we've got the top of the atmosphere in the stratosphere at 10 HPA just there. That's 30 HPA, that's 50 HPA, 50 HPA is the troposphere. Boundary level of the atmosphere weather is taking place. The blue colours are indicating easterly QBOs. We're nearly now seeing the end of the last easterly QBO on this chart, so that's nearly gone. Now, last time we had a proper easterly QBO in 2017, 2018. That is the westerly QBO of 2018-19 into the start of 2020. This should have been our next easterly QBO phase just here through 2020, but of course it failed. We did not get the descension of the easterly QBO from the stratosphere to the troposphere, and instead the westerly QBO just came back through the second half of 2020. Where we are right now, though, is that we can see that easterly QBO, which never really went away from the stratosphere, it's always been lurking in the stratosphere, is now starting to move downwards to the troposphere. Quite significantly so now. So you can see the colours, the blue and green colours here on the chart are getting ever more intense. That tells us that the ECQBO is strengthening, and you see how we've got a nice smooth line from the stratosphere into the troposphere with the ECQBO. So the ECQBO is definitely descending from the strat into the troposphere, and also strengthening. If we zoom in, you can see that it really does look as though the ECQBO is on the way now and moving into the troposphere. So I think the ECQBO is on its way. I've talked about this in videos recently. I think we're going to transition from the west to the ECQBO properly during this summer and by next winter, because of course the QBO is primarily a winter driver. But we look at it all year round, but it's primarily something that's important in the winter because it tells us the strength of zonal westerlies. So when you're in ECQBO, you weaken off the zonal westerlies, and you have a greater chance of blocking and colder winter weather for Northern Europe and the North Atlantic. So I think by this coming winter, we're going to be in a strong and you know, a proper strong easterly QBO phase would be my suspicion about where this is going, because we do see, but it looks very clear now that the ECQBO is descending into the troposphere. Arctic oscillation observed and forecast. This again just an in-depth structure reflecting the atmospheric state, doesn't drive anything. So in terms, just tells us what the atmosphere is doing. So when the AO is in its positive phase, we've got low pressure up over pole. When the AO is in its negative phase, we've got high pressure blocking over the pole. The current position of the Arctic oscillation is just there. So we're weakly positive. And the GFS ensembles, these red lines just here, are forecasting that the AO will stay in a positive phase, weakly positive, through the rest of May and into June. So we're losing the blocking. Similarly, we have been in a negative AO over the past few weeks. You see from the black line just there, really since the middle of April. But we're losing the blocking now, and we've got much in the way of low pressure up over the Arctic. Yeah, blocking sort of going away or weakening, or we're losing that in the next couple of weeks. The NAO observed and forecast also on the move as well. That's been in a negative phase over the past few weeks. So going back into April, you see the NAO has been negative. We're still weakly negative just here, but GFS ensembles are forecasting a change through the rest of May into the start of June to weekly positive or positive with the NAO. So both indexes are shifting from a negative to a positive state. This is probably a sign of strengthening of the Azores high, I would have thought, and could be, if you're waiting for some drier, warmer weather, could be encouraging signs here that we've got the AO and the NAO going positive, because I think that would indicate, it might indicate that we're strengthening the westerly flow, but it could also indicate that that we're going to be seeing the Azores high strengthening. The Azores high, as it throws up ridges into West Europe, is what tends to start off a lot of our warm spells. So we could be shifting into a warmer, drier period. We could be starting to leave behind the cold and wet weather that we've had over the past few weeks. Right, let's do some forecasting then. So, these are GFS, upper air temperature and precipitation ensembles. Let's go to Oxford today. Red line is the 30-year upper air temperature average for Oxford. We're starting off below average and will remain below average for the next few days as well. So quite chilly until we get to the end of the week. Into next weekend, we see the upper air temperature beginning to lift back towards long-term average. And that's really where many of these ensemble members are staying, but there is a bit of a split within the GFS ensemble. So you've got these cooler ensemble members down here, but you've got warmer ensemble members up there. It does look as though early June should see something a little bit warmer developing. Now, I'm sure you notice the thick green line here. That is today's GFS midnight operational run. And look how that takes off. It gets really hot, the GFS operational run today, lifting the upper air temperature above 15 degrees at 850 HPA at its peak. You'll see that it is a clear outlier. There's no other ensemble member doing anything like that, going anywhere near as hot as that. Some of these ensemble members here get quite warm. They're not outliers, they're like at the warmest end of the range. But the operational run is actually an outlier today. But, you know, it might be a trend setter. Sometimes outliers can be trend setters. So, have a look at it in a moment anyway. But when we do, just keep in mind that it hasn't got really any support at all from other GFS ensemble members. Precipitation-wise, we've got quite a lot of rain coming up over the next few days. Another deluge on the way today. And the next few days will be showery, showers along as well as rain really through the next week or so. Leading to extended range, it's not convincingly dry, is it? There is plenty of precipitation spikes still there, even into the extended range. So I think you have to wait and see. You have to be cautious still about how long any high pressure lasts. But I think we will get some higher pressure and warmer, drier weather for a while during the opening of June. Temperature anomalies from the 23rd to the 31st of May are going to be below average for the UK and most parts of Europe as well. Another cool week coming up. I would expect these might start trending a bit warmer over the next 2 or 3 days when we look at them in this week's 10 to 14 day videos. And precipitation anomalies from the 23rd of May to 31st, near normal to just a little bit wetter than average for more western areas. Latest wind flow map from nullschool.net shows that low pressure is moving back in from off the Atlantic. So we've got a deep low sitting just to our west, just here. This is an active weather front. It's going to bring lots of heavy rain across the country for today and tonight. The high map, then we will go into a showery scenario for Monday and for Tuesday. That's how things look on Wednesday. That area of low pressure is just to our west at the moment. Will be just to our east at midnight on Wednesday. We're going to push across the country. This is the UK Met for midnight Wednesday. Showing low pressure in the North Sea, centred over Denmark, putting in a cold and showery northerly wind. We keep it pretty showery and quite cool through to Thursday as well. And then into the end of the week and next weekend, we start getting a little bit of a ridge building over into the east of the country. Probably sort of trough out to west. We could be bringing some showers through there. But overall, it does look as though we're beginning to move towards higher pressure there, moving into the bank holiday weekend. So it's starting to turn a little bit drier and warmer as we move into the bank holiday weekend. Right, let's have a look at this GFS midnight run then. So again, Wednesday, we've got high pressure still blocking to our north. Low pressure is over Denmark, pulling away from us. Cool and showery on Wednesday into Thursday, keeping it cool and showery. And then into the end of the week and weekend, we start to get this ridge building from southwest. This is the Azores High. That's the Azores High I was just talking about. That's starting to send up a ridge into western parts of Europe. As we go through bank holiday weekend, that ridge strengthens. So this is next Sunday, 30th of May. High pressure then is dominating in the south, bringing quite a bit of dry and warm weather. Still a bit unsettled for the north, some showers or some long spells of rain, but the high pressure for bank holiday Monday strengthens even more. Upper air temperature starting to lift up, bringing the plus 10 celsius iceberg into the south, into southwest. Then we move up towards day 10, and the high pressure really takes over. Though for Scotland, it is still rather cool and showery, but by day 10, which is Wednesday the 2nd of June, that high pressure is pretty much over all parts of the country and starting to pull up some proper heat from France. Look at these upper air temperatures. Plus 10 celsius iceberg is moving in towards southern parts of England and Wales. Got plus 15 celsius iceberg over France, and then as high pressure slips eastwards, that pulls up proper heat from France. So up comes the plus 15 celsius iceberg for the first time this year. That will probably get temperatures. It might get the temperature around 27, 28 degrees, maybe a little bit higher, possibly even 30 degrees, 86 Fahrenheit in the southeast. But keep in mind, do bear in mind, that this is a real outlier. There are hardly any, or there are no GFS ensemble members that are as hot as this. But it might be a trendsetter, who knows. But anyway, pull up that heat through the opening days of June, and then very quickly that gets pushed away into the continent as low pressure deepens in the Atlantic. So very quickly we start to see that heat moving over towards Germany, and we pull cooler air in from the west. So we eventually finish up with the GFS midnight run back into cool and showery conditions by Sunday, 6th of June. That's when we're releasing our NAO forecast, of course. And so, yeah, you know, it turns cooler and settle right at the very end. But for a while anyway, it does pull up some real heat there with a GFS midnight run. And that's the first time we've seen that on any model output. This is how the GEM is looking. So again, Wednesday, low pressures over Denmark, pulling in this cool and showery northerly wind. Then we start getting this ridge building through the country as we go through to the end of the week, turning it drier. And those dry conditions then carry on into the bank holiday weekend. So definitely settling down over bank holiday weekend and becoming a little bit warmer as well. Looks like it's only temporary, and by the end of the GM run up to day 10, which is Wednesday 2nd of June, we're probably starting to turn a little bit thundery there as low pressure is beginning to drift up from the south. Then we've got the ECM, which again has low pressure over Denmark, clearing way to our east, high pressure blocking and winds in from the north. We have this ridge building through the country as we come through to the end of the week. That turns us drier and also a little bit warmer as well. And into the bank holiday weekend, again, high pressure takes over. That turns us mainly dry and warm as well. We'll be lifting temperatures at least to the low 20s Celsius with that, with plenty of sunshine. And there's your upper air temperatures, so they're looking pretty warm as well. Plus 10 Celsius ice firm is well and truly involved. And we move on to the end of the ECM run, which gets us to the 2nd of June today. And again, high pressure is dominating the weather. So it definitely looks like we're going to get some drier and warmer weather here now at the end of May and into the start of June. Precipitation type forecast based on that ECM run looks like this from Meteo.com. Lots of rain piling in from west, so it will be quite torrential, I think, today. That rain will clear away to the east overnight, and then we'll be left with lots of showers. And these showers might turn thundery across England and Wales, as far as Scotland stays wet, by the way, as low pressure is stuck there. And then we head on through next week, and we keep it pretty showery through much of the week, but eventually we start to turn things drier. So as we move into bank holiday weekend, again, you see how things are just generally drying out. Last thing to look at this video is going to be CFS V2 700 millibar height anomaly forecast for June. We'll show you the CFS weeklies in our live stream at 6 PM, and also the options on the table in the ECM ensemble, so they'll be showing up in the live stream from 6 o'clock as well. This is how the CFS 700 millibar height anomaly is looking for June. Anticyclonic, above average height centered over and to the east of the country as well. Should bring us lots of dry and fine weather. Temperature anomaly is still a little bit low. I would expect it to be a bit warmer than that, with high pressure centered over and slightly to the east of the country. We should be drawing up a warm southeasterly wind. No signal for precipitation, but I would have thought a drier month is likely. So warm and dry with high pressure in control for the rest of June, if that's right. Right, let's just put webcam back up then. So that's it for Sunday Round-Up this week. If you enjoyed the video, please can you smash the like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much, everybody, for doing that. Tell friends, family, everybody else who subscribe. That's absolutely great and fantastic. Right, we're going to see you at 6 o'clock live. You enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and we'll see you live at 6 for the Sunday Round-Up this week. That's all for now, and thanks for watching.